Hi. Katie's there. I can see her. I am live on TikTok, Substack, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Vickery. Welcome to Live with Heather Vickery. It is my weekly live show where I come in and share one way that you can step out of fear and into bravery to take back the power in your life, to choose yourself bravely, to lead with embodied joy because you were born worthy. I help heart centered conscious leaders just like you go from where you are to where you want to be by learning to deeply and completely know, like, and trust yourself, especially in the pivots of life, especially as things change. As we age, what we think or we thought we knew about ourselves shifts, it changes, and we need to relearn ourselves in this new space, in the space we're in today. Know, like, and trust ourselves, and then learn to lead from embodied joy by checking in, by connecting ourselves, by understanding what it is that we need in this moment. And we have to recognize that our needs shift and change, just like the seasons, just like the weather, just like every other human being in the world. I do that through a lot of different modalities, but specifically, I do it through human design and NLP work, subconscious reprogramming. So the NLP work will help you get to know yourself deeply and completely. Hi, Steph. Welcome. And then the human design, did I see? I'm feeling funky today. The human design work helps you get to know yourself. It helps me get to know you. It helps me help you, which is awesome because human design is all about expanding. It's all about living into your highest and most aligned self. There's nothing to shift or change or fix in your human design because you are perfect exactly the way you are. You are exactly as you were designed to be. And that is such a gift to the world. And then, and then, we figure out what bullshit programming has been put on you from society, from past experiences, from your parents, whatever it is. And we use subconscious reprogramming to shift that. I do this in a lot of different ways. I do it in private one on one coaching. I do it through the Spark Collective, which is a community membership that's only $18 a month that just helps you prioritize time to show up for yourself, sort of in the cracks of life. 10 or 15 minutes a day here and there is really great. I also do it through larger community events, retreats all over the world. We have one coming up in Costa Rica in January 2026. And I am telling you, some of you lovelies who are over here on Substack right now, I have my heart set on seeing you in Costa Rica. I just need you to know I am manifesting you being able to join us because I would just love to have you in that space. Oh, and Margaret, there's three of you now. I'm manifesting the three of you coming in. You know, everybody's welcome. We still have room. Join us. And I wanted to talk about the importance of rest. And this is something that has really come full circle, I think, in a lot of entrepreneurial communities, especially for women. In the last couple of years, we're talking more about rest. We're talking more about the importance of rest and prioritizing rest. It is a very powerful thing. Rest is not lazy. Rest is a form of leadership, knowing when to rest, knowing how to rest. Years and years ago, and y'all can go and look this up. Um, I did an interview back when I had the Brave Files podcast. I did an interview with a woman named Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. And she had done some research and created the 7 different types of sacred rest. So, all sorts of different ways we rest: creative rest, spiritual rest, physical rest. I do not remember all of them off the top of my head, but it's a really great episode. You can find it anywhere you enjoy podcasts. Go to the Brave Files, 7 different types of sacred rest. But rest is about rejuvenation. It's about giving yourself space and time to connect with yourself, to learn from yourself, to expand, to explore. I know many people who equate rest with quiet and they're afraid of quiet. And I want to assure you, it doesn't have to be that way, although it can be. I have learned to really, really, really love quiet. I am a big energy being. I'm a projector in human design. I absorb and amplify other people's energies. Other people's energy conflates with my own, and it makes it hard for me to hear myself and feel myself. And I get muddled when I'm not careful about that. Um, what about anxiety? How to become that powerful to exit from this darkness? Oh, friend, I see you. Rest is a wonderful way to do that. Honoring yourself, getting to know yourself deeply and completely. I think it's tricky right now, and I'm feeling this myself. Um, there's so much collective anxiety and stress and fear and concern, and yet we need to find moments of joy and peace and happiness, and we have to prioritize rest. Because if we do not prioritize it, we're going to break. And how can we be the support system, the leaders that we want to be in the world if we are not caring for ourselves? It's the core of all of the work that I do. But rest can look like a lot of different things. For my partner, rest looks like playing pickleball. That's like how she rejuvenates herself. For me, rest is often with a very good book, but sleep is important to me also, or just slowing down, shutting it down. You got to have some really strong boundaries. I typically do not work nights and weekends. In fact, my work hours tend to be 10 a.m. to like 3 or 4 p.m. most of the time. Everything, though, has to come with flexibility and shift. Last night, I did a 5 p.m. workshop for an awesome human being who brought me into her community to talk about how to build unshakable confidence. And I used all these same tools. We talk about human design, we talk about subconscious reprogramming, we talk about setting boundaries, the brave method, which is what my book, Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap, is all about, the brave method. My own creative strategic approach to problem solving, dreaming, designing, building, and actually having a life that you are in love with, that you pick, that you're excited to wake up to. It doesn't mean every second of every day is wonderful, because that's ridiculous. We're human beings, but it does mean that you gain the tools and resources to move through things a little bit quicker and feel better. KP says the garden is good for that. My dogs are great at making me go outside, and my cats are good for helping me nap. I love that, right? You're finding ways to do that. I love to go outside in the morning with my coffee and my book and listen to the birds chirp and rest and read and breathe fresh air. My dog usually goes out with me as well. And the last 2 mornings I've been out there, and there's been a beautiful white butterfly. And as soon as I catch my little pal, the butterfly, out the side of my eye, I will put my book down and I just watch the butterfly flitter around the yard. And I take a deep breath and I remind myself that I am part of this universe, and that my taking the time to recognize joy and wonder and to be grateful for it and just to be present for it is rejuvenating. And it helps me feel like I'm part of something worthy and valuable, and not just on this grind and this hustle all the time. It can't be like, working just to pay the bills and never finding time to rest and never doing anything that brings you joy. We can't survive like that. We're not designed to survive like that. I read a couple of weeks ago, I read the book, The Measure. Have any of you read this book? I liked it a lot. I don't know that I loved it, but it was very, very thought provoking. The concept of the book, The Measure, is that one day everyone in the world who's 22 or older gets a box on their front doorstep with their name, and it says, "Inside is the measure of your life." And then there's a string, and everybody had different sizes of string, and the strings are indestructible. You can't break them. And they then are able to, quote unquote, scientifically prove that the length of the string is how much time you have left. And then people start behaving in certain ways because they have a short string or a long string. Maybe they're reckless if they have a long string, but just because you're alive doesn't mean you're healthy or well. You could be paralyzed, you could be miserable, right? There are all sorts of things that could happen. Fast forward all the way to the end of the book, 15 years later, and the main character is in Italy. And she says, "Oh, we're not like the Americans. We did not have to reprioritize our lives based on our strings, because we already prioritized the things that matter the most. We already knew that joy and family and laughter and fun were the most important things to prioritize first." And it really hit me. And I think that's so, so, so important. Okay. Stephanie says, any ideas for those that work full-time jobs, how to get rest when one might also have a side business? Yeah, that is tricky, 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 because it's a lot, right? You're working your regular 40-ish hours a week, and you've got your side thing going. And then KP says, I still work all the hours. I just take breaks and consciously enjoy them. And I think that's the answer, Stephanie, to your question, is seeing where in the cracks you can make time for the things that feel restful or that bring you joy. For some people, the side business, the side hustle is something they enjoy. I know that for my podcast co-host Alan, we host Was It Chance together. Podcasting is a thing that brings him joy, even though it's technically work. It's something he does for pleasure. He's not very good at resting, though. We spend a lot of time talking about that. He just got back from a vacation with his family, and he's like, can't wait to get back to back to work, back to my routine. I, however, could lean into rest for a really long time. I think the answer to that, Stephanie, is to take stock of your own circumstances, your own situation, and then decide, where can I find time? Where can I create 5 minutes to do some exercises? Stephanie, I actually sent you on Signal this new exercise routine I'm trying, because Stephanie and I talked about holding each other accountable for being physically active. So I want to know what you think of that. Or creating time to read. So if you love to read, maybe you make sure you have a book with you all of the time, an audiobook, a paperback book, an ebook, whatever, so that when there are cracks, maybe you're waiting for something, you're waiting in the doctor's office, you're waiting to pick up your kids, whatever, you can enjoy that in the meantime. It might mean setting really strong boundaries around when you close out your regular day job, like not overdoing it if that's not what needs to be done. Perhaps I think sometimes, and this came up in the workshop that I did yesterday, sometimes we give more than we need to give because we make assumptions. Ask some questions, find out what people really expect from you and what they want from you, and how can you make those things merge a little bit more easily. Assumptions are always going to take you down the wrong path. Assumptions do not serve you. They don't support you at all. So ask better questions, set better boundaries, right? So when are you done for the day? Even if you have a side hustle, you might want to be really conscientious of how much time you spend each day, what days of the week you do it, and build in. If you're one of those type A's that really loves a good structure, a good schedule, literally build it in. I know that, and I think she's still here. Katie was just talking about, she's doing like the self curriculum thing. Y'all, I am not a curriculum girl. I do not like structure and routine like that. I like basic structure and routine, but then what I do within my structure and routine needs to shift and change all the time. I get really bored if the same exact things are expected of me all the time. Maybe it's undiagnosed ADHD, but I think something like that is a great idea for those folks who really serve with that. Build in your time to rest. What does that look like? Does it mean going for a walk? Does it mean working out? Does it mean sitting in your backyard? Does it mean taking vacation? Does it mean finding time to read or write or do things that bring you joy? You have to decide for yourself, right, what those things really are. Stephanie said, I get so distracted with my days. I want structure, but I totally fall off. And next thing, it's 3 p.m. and nothing is done. Yeah, that's a really interesting problem. It's a very common problem. And my question would be, what is it about the structure that you're avoiding? Maybe the way you're structuring it doesn't feel good. And so you're resisting it, you're pushing against it, and you're killing time doing other things. One thing to do, and this is kind of a hard thing to do, it's a big thing to do, but it really does work, is ask yourself, do reflective work at the end of every day. How did I actually spend my time today? Did I get the results that I wanted? Do I feel good about how I spent my time? What do I want to do again? What do I want to shift? What do I want to do differently? And you start building that awareness piece so that you can catch yourself when you're doing something that is you don't actually want to be doing, but it's a distraction. Or maybe you're avoiding something that you need to deal with and get off your plate, or maybe you need to delegate it. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you shouldn't have to take that on. You never really know. So in a way, I'm resting all the time because I'm not doing shit. I don't think that's true, because your brain never shuts down, because you're always thinking about what you're supposed to be doing and you're distracting yourself with other stuff and you're stimulated all the time. So let's not confuse distraction and scrolling and constant stimulation with resting, because rest is really a revolutionary act for conscious leaders. Rest is shutting the noise out. Rest is taking space, taking time for yourself. And sometimes it does mean we have to hold our feet to the fire and get shit done so that we can prioritize time for ourselves and time for rest. It's really important that we don't confuse busyness with anything else. Like if we're just keeping Nod's head, right? If we're keeping ourselves busy, but we're not getting shit done that we want, we're preventing ourselves from finding time to do things that bring us joy. So I personally have gotten really clear on how I'm spending my time. And if I catch myself just kind of monkeying around, screwing around social media, checking accounts all the time, I might just say, like, I've gotten done the 3 things today that were the most important. And I do tend to do that every day. Like, what are my non-negotiables for today? What has to get done? if I have a live show or a client call or a podcast interview, whatever, those are the things that are happening. And outside of that, what are the 2 or 3 things that have to get done today? I need to write this blog post. Whatever it is. And I make sure I prioritize that. And then if I'm just fucking around and scrolling and doing whatever, I'll shut it down. I'll walk away. I'll go meditate. I'll go take a nap. I'll go read my book because I know that just keeping myself busy isn't serving me in any way. What happens when you just go, go, go? And especially if you fill your gap time thinking you're kind of working because you're on social media or whatever you're doing, you never give your nervous system a chance to rest. So, one of the reasons I love NLP work and subconscious reprogramming, subliminal audios, quick self guided hypnosis, or even like EFT tapping, all of that is so powerful in giving my nervous system a break, in recalibrating, in finding creating space in my day, and it doesn't have to take very long. I mean, you could do a self-guided hypnosis session in 30 minutes. You can listen to a subliminal audio in the background whenever you want. I actually have an entire catalog of human design focused subliminal audios out right now, which you can get. You can get one audio, or you could get 5, you could get 9, or you could get all 14 to cover your entire human design chart. I listened to them myself just this morning. I listened to my strategy, my authority, and I have an open G center. Why did I pick the open G center subliminal audio? Because your G center is your sense of identity, your sense of love, self worth, worthiness. And when you have an open G center like I do, we sometimes struggle with feeling that sense of self-worth and self-love and self-awareness. And I can feel that today. I can feel that energy a little bit today. Okay, questions. Can you talk about the audios? Yeah, absolutely. Um, are they like a podcast? They are not like a podcast. So they are custom based on your human design. So the way I've done it is I've created subliminal audios for your type, strategy, authority, profile lines, environment, all 9 centers defined and undefined. So if you want to just get one, if you are working on alignment and struggling with one of those areas, you can do that. I have a basic set, which is your type, strategy, authority, profile line, and environment, which is very inclusive. You can get that set of 5, or you can get your centers. So once you check out, like once you purchase them, you get to go in and tell me your human design chart information. What is your type, strategy, authority, profile line, environment? Which centers do you have defined and undefined? So then you get an email with the appropriate audios. And then you get to download them. I don't gatekeep them. You don't have to join a membership. You don't have to go into a specific app. I send you the links. You download them. You get to keep them forever and ever. They're yours. I hope that people don't send them to other people and share them, because that is definitely taking food out of my children's mouths, and that sucks. It's not very integral, but I can't control what people do. So this was the easiest way for me to set it up. And actually on the back end was really tricky, Stephanie. Getting all of that set up on the back end was it took us like 3 months to figure out how to set this up so that the delivery system would be easy. But it works, and we're really proud of it, and they're amazing, and they're really well priced, and I love listening to them all the time. And that helps me create rest. It helps me feel more aligned with myself, with my body, with my human design in the world, because we are all so uniquely designed. We are all built differently and beautifully and wonderfully and perfectly, but there's so much noise coming at us all the time that tells us we are supposed to be this way or that way or different, or that we shouldn't like this about ourselves, or we shouldn't like that about ourselves, or we should change that about ourselves. It's exhausting. Talk about needing rest, right? So if we get fully aligned, we don't actually need as much quote unquote sleep downtime rest as maybe we all think we do, unless you're a projector like me, where we have to rest before we hustle. Rest equals success. That was a really interesting unlearning for me, kind of. I've always operated that way, and I just thought I was broken. I just thought something was wrong with me, that I needed more rest than everybody else, that I didn't have the go, 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 go hustle. It wasn't just a mentality. I literally just physically could not do it. And I used to think that that was a fault of mine, that there was something wrong. And when I learned about my human design, that I'm designed to rest in order to be successful, that I can work 3 or 4 hours a day and get done what other people get done in 8 to 10 hours a day, as long as I control myself, I focus, I figure out what I want to do, and then I give myself that space to rest. But that's not the way everybody's designed. And it's Stephanie, it's not the way you're designed. That's not what your human design is. You have that defined sacral. I know that because I've pulled your human design chart. Um, and that the people with a defined sacral, generators and manifesting generators, have this ability to move and go and go and go and go, as long as what you're saying yes to is a hell yes, and you're saying no to the no's. And that's really, 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 really important. So when you're talking about having a full-time job and a side hustle, you got the podcast, you're taking pictures, you're doing like all these amazing things that are happening, you're doing film. Um, if the things that you're saying yes to light you up and excite you, you will not get as tired as other people do. That doesn't mean you don't need actual rest. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take vacations, you don't need enough sleep, but you might need less rest, actual physical rest, than other people do. And that is because you have this motor. Your sacral is literally a motor that goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. It doesn't, you don't get that tired unless you're saying yes to things that are a no. And the truth of the matter is, if you have a defined sacral, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, and you're saying yes to things that you know are a no, you know it, you know it, you know it, you feel it, you're conscious of it, your mind is aware of it, you do it anyway, and then you just feel shitty the entire time. You don't always give your best effort. It's not always fun for the people around you. You know it. So shift it. Work really hard to say yes to the yeses. And if there's something that's a no and you think it has to be a yes, see if you can creatively problem solve. Is there another way you could do it that would feel more like a yes? Is there somebody that could help you? Could you ask for help? Could you delegate? Find creative ways to do that. So, this is why I love to partner human design with everything I do. Like, this topic is about rest isn't lazy, it's leadership. But when we know your human design, we can help you build a blueprint for your life that fits you, that's designed for you, that works with you. Because the way that I do it would drive somebody like Stephanie completely insane. You would lose your mind. And I'm like, I only want to talk to people a certain amount of time per day. I really want to be alone. I crave alone time more and more and more as I get older in my life. And it's an energy thing for me. It is absolutely an energy thing for me. Even if I'm in a different room than other people in my house, I can feel their energy. It shifts the way I experience my life and my day. And so having that quiet alone time is crucial for me. Separating myself and creating that. I love to go on solo retreats. I have not done it in a couple of years, but I'll take anywhere from 3 to 5 days completely alone, and I don't talk to people. I buy all my groceries or bring a big stack of books, and I just spend that time with myself, and it is delicious. Delicious. My Costa Rica retreat in January, which I would love to have you all come and join. What are you doing January 21st to the 26th? To come with us to the MLO Institute in Costa Rica. This is I'm calling it the Reclaim Your Peace retreat. But as I was planning that, we have organized group activities every day. We have our meals, but I built in a lot of expansive space where people can get together and socialize, or you can retreat and have some time alone. And I knew I needed to build that in for myself, because being with people, even people I adore, for 6 days straight will take an energy toll on me. So I have to have that alone time. I have to have that space for myself, and I build that accordingly. And on top of that, I'm going to stay a day later just to be alone in San Jose, because I need to make sure that I'm honoring that, and I want to come back rested and all of that. So if you're available, I'd love to have you guys come with us to Costa Rica. If you have questions about Costa Rica, ask me, email me, reach out, come to Tuesday, anything, ask me anything, office hours. We do have anywhere from 5 to about 10 spots left. It kind of depends on if you're getting solo rooms or shared rooms, things like that. So we do have some space available. But pulling things back to rest is not lazy, it's leadership. Rest is not lazy, it's leadership. Rest is not lazy, it's leadership. And I don't want you to do something to yourself that says, oh, I guess I'm leading a lot lately because I've been really lazy. I've been really restful. That does not help you. You have to move with the flow of your life. You have to show up with what's showing up for you. If you're have the blinders on and you're so narrow minded that it's got to be like this all the time, then when the world does its natural thing, when life does its natural thing of shifting and transforming, you're going to feel like you're being pulled apart because you aren't allowing yourself to go with the flow of what's showing up. Hey, Jess, how are you? You want to make sure that you're building in time for reassessment, reflection, and resilience, getting up again and doing it differently, knowing what's working for you, knowing what's not working for you, and really being a bit of a chameleon through all of it, allowing yourself to go with what's showing up right now. It doesn't mean you don't do the work. It doesn't mean that you aren't great at your job. It means that things are going to shift and change, and you'll do yourself a favor if you shift and change with it. But you can't do that unless you're practicing really thoughtful, intentional awareness and intentional action. So you have to be practicing the 3 R's from the Brave Method from my book. You have to be practicing the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, resilience. You have to take intentional time every single day to think about what worked today, what didn't. Did I like the way I felt today? Was I happy with my results? Do I want more of this, less of this? What can I do differently tomorrow? Who do I want to be in this moment? It is so important. It is so impactful to create that time because that gives you awareness. Awareness is knowledge and knowledge is power. And once you know, you can't unknow. Once you're aware, you can't become unaware. Once you're aware, you have really two choices. You either do something about it or you don't. And then you know that you're making choices that don't feel aligned. And that it sucks. And eventually that'll be too much. Eventually you won't be able to do that anymore. So just to wrap all this up, and you guys have had great questions today. This has been so fun. I love it, love it, love it when y'all come in and you ask your questions and we get to engage. That's so much more fun for me than just talking at these three devices. I'm going to have somebody come and take a picture of. We've got YouTube and LinkedIn, TikTok, and Substack. It's so much more fun to know that there are people out there engaging, asking questions, and that we're changing things in real time. But here are a couple of things I want to offer up. I want to make sure that you're pausing and checking in with yourself. And so before you just push through and power through another task, I would love to invite you to pause and ask yourself, what would happen if I just rested for the next 15 minutes? Like literally shut it down, put the device away, and went and sat somewhere. Maybe you're gonna just sit in the silence. Maybe you're gonna listen to a subliminal audio or some binaural beats or whatever. Some of my subliminal audios have binaural beats, for the record, or bilateral, where it goes ear to ear. Like just set your timer for 15 minutes and walk away from everything. What could happen if you did that? What could that open up for you? What if you did some stretching? I love this, right? Rolling your shoulders, rolling your neck, crunch your shoulders up really, 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 really high, and then release them. How does that feel? Good. What if you walked away and did a really short breath work? My favorite is what I call a 4-7-8. And I'm going to do it with you right now. It's the easiest thing ever. 3 reps of in through your nose for a count of 4, hold at the top for a count of 7, release through your mouth for a count of 8. Let's do it together. You guys ready? So first, hold, release, in, hold, release. Last one, in, hold, and release. That resets me in the most beautiful way. I feel so much more calm, so much more clear headed. And I'm wired right now because I'm doing this live show with you. I'm on. So the first couple of breaths in, I know that I couldn't take a full deep breath in, but by the third one, I was able to breathe in those 4 seconds all the way into my whole body, into my whole chest. I can feel it. it changes things. And that's so easy. It doesn't even take a minute. It's so easy to do. Put it in your back pocket. Take it anytime you need to shift, you're feeling frustrated. Like it's just a beautiful way to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system and give yourself a break. Stephanie says that you like that. I'm so glad. Thank you for the conversation today. I'm making a list of what's important today, and I love the idea of the 15-minute rest. Excellent. That's amazing. Um, and the other thing I would say is check in with yourself in this season of life. What does rest actually look like? Because it's going to be different all the time. We just transitioned, those of you who have kids, the kids are back in school. It's different now than it was a week ago, right? And come the holidays, things are changing. So take the time to reassess seasonally in this season of your life. What does rest look like? How can I hold on to that more? How can I create intentional time for rest? And then the last thing is um, ask yourself, what's one thing you can take off your plate today? One thing that you don't actually have to do, and that you can literally maybe just drop it, release it, or maybe you delegate it, ask for some help. As I guarantee you, there's at least one thing on your plate that you don't actually have to do, and give yourself that extra space. And then when you give yourself that extra space, use it for rest. Don't use it for hustle, use it for you. I love you guys. You are amazing. I am here every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central. I also host Ask Me Anything office hours on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Central. You're all invited. There's a link in my bio wherever you're watching this that'll take you right to Ask Me Anything office hours. If you don't know your human design chart and you want one, you can pull a free human design chart on my website right now, vickeryandco.com. Again, there's a link in my bio. Go get your free human design chart. And then if you have questions, come back and let's talk about it. And then I think Margaret is still here. Later today, I am doing another Substack Live with Margaret, and we are talking more about human design and subconscious reprogramming. So, folks, thank you so much. Stephanie, I'm so glad you were here. Everyone, I loved having you here. My name is Heather Vickery, and I want to remind you today and every day to choose yourself bravely because you are so worth it. Take care. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Now I got to stop it.